guys, it's Lizzie. So today I'm going to talk about how to journal, and in a lot of my videos I refer to my God journal, and so a lot of people just ask me questions about like how I started that, what I write in it, and just advice for starting up a journal. So I'm a writer, and I think it's really natural for me to just like write out my thoughts, write out my prayers. It's just something that comes very intuitive to my personality, and I think I started journaling when I was in kindergarten. I didn't really know how to write, but I had my sister like write for me, just kind of like talking about my day and my experiences in kindergarten. And then when I was 9, I was at church and I won a journal for like a memory verse thing. Like every Wednesday night, if we memorized the Bible verse, we got to pick like a gift. And so that week I picked a journal, and I decided it would be my prayer journal. I would always write down things to pray about, and then over time I started writing out prayers like Dear God, kind of like a letter to God. And then over time that's like developed and evolved into my current method of journaling. Something else I use to write down a lot of my thoughts is the notes app on my phone. I have like 12, I don't know if you guys can see, like 1,209 notes right now, and just it goes back and back for years. The reason I choose to write in a physical journal though is because I think like our lives are constantly plugged into our phones, our iPads, or laptops, whatever technology you use. For me it's really therapeutic because I get away from any notifications, text messages, and I can just focus on my journal, no interruptions. Something else I've known for a while as a studying technique is that if you write out your notes rather than typing them up on a laptop, your brain will just remember them more. And so I find that when I'm writing down like spiritual insights or like notes from a Bible study, like my brain will just register that stronger if I write it down. But another reason that I love journaling is I have this huge drawer in my bedroom at home, and I just have years and years and years of my life, my thoughts, my emotions, and it's so cool looking back and seeing how much I've grown, and you know, things I was praying about in like middle school and how God shaped me to be who I am now. So 4 basic things that are really important that you gain from journaling. Number 1, you gain wisdom from your experiences. So you process things, you write out how you feel, what happened, kind of cause and effect, and from that you grow and you figure out like what you did wrong, what you did right. Number 2, you know yourself, and so if you're just constantly expressing yourself, you have an outlet for that. You're just gonna get to know yourself better and figure out like all of who you are, depths of your identity. Number 3, you'll become more emotionally intelligent. This kind of goes along with number 1 because you're processing so in depth your experiences, like really analyzing things. And the last one is that you grow closer to God. Don't try to be legalistic and separate it like you can only write like spiritual Christian things in your journal. I think it should honestly just be like an emulation of who you are. So don't think of it as like religious versus creative. Just like any thoughts you have, any emotion that you want to get out, and anything that you want to say to God, like all of it can just be in your one journal. So the way you set up your journal is on like, you know, the front cover, or if there's a little like dedication, those dedication lines, I'll write down the date I'm starting the journal in and then put dash, and then when I'm done with the journal I put in the end date. And then on each page I also date it. And so I always carry around my journal, a lot of times my Bible too, but then also like this pencil case, and inside I have like a lot of different colors. I don't know if you can tell, but I have, you know, a lot of different colored highlighters, markers, colored pens. I'm gonna link below the place that I get like my colored like pens at because those are so important. They make studying for school a lot better, reading your Bible a lot more fun. They make you want to journal more. But I make it really fun. I don't just like write with a black pen, but you know, sometimes I'll like color in it or write shapes or like write really big, and like all of that just like personalizes it and it makes it more artistic and it makes it a lot more fun. So I wrote a list of some things that I write in my journal. I'm just gonna like read through them. So number 1 is sermon notes and Bible study notes from Bible class at church or any small group you're in. I've been taking notes at sermons, notes during sermons at church since I was 9. I remember in 4th grade, that's when I started doing it, and I find it just a lot more engaging when you're kind of outlining what's being said, and then later in the week I can look back in my journal and read it. A lot of times during a sermon, the pastor or the preacher will tell you, you know, to think about something more, or he'll be saying something and I'm like, wait, what are 4 things I idolize in my life? And so I'll write like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'll like leave blank so that later I can go back in the journal and like kind of like think about it more. And also just at church, it helps you follow it more, focus if you're writing it down. And like I said with studying, like your brain will just register register it more since you're writing. So whichever journal I'm currently writing in, I carry it around with me everywhere, like to school. If I'm going out and I'm gonna be like waiting somewhere for a while, I always have this so I can look back and read through prayers I've written, notes from a sermon, a poem I wrote, like anything like that, and it helps me further analyze and just think through things. Personal Bible studies. So I write mostly in my Bible, like I annotate my Bible a lot, like highlight, write notes, but a lot of times I'll like see a Bible verse, or I'll like really have like a spiritual epiphany about hi car. I'll have like a spiritual epiphany about something I read, and I just want to like write everything down, or I'll be like, oh my gosh, this perfectly develops my health theology, and so I want to like write out, you know, a couple paragraphs just about what I'm thinking. And you can do the same thing where like you want to make a list of stuff to think through later. I think like when you're reading the Bible, there's that verse about it being like a double-edged sword, so it's like really convicting reading it, and it just really forces me to want to think through like how to change myself to be more like Christ, like how to grow. And so I'll write down like personal examples of stuff I want to pray through and work on as I'm reading my Bible. So number 3 is writing out prayers, and I think this is the most important thing that you can use your journal for. A lot of you ask me for advice on how to start praying, and I've also found that in a lot of Bible studies I've been a part of, it's just kind of been this constant where people feel really awkward talking to God. The way I got more comfortable talking to God is by writing out letters to Him. And so I literally just write, "Dear God," and then I just write out whatever I'm thinking, any like worship to Him, anything I'm confessing, but mainly just like pouring out my emotions, like what I'm worrying about, what I'm thinking so much about in my life right now, what I care about. A lot of it is like negative emotions, like when I'm freaked out about something, so worried or angry, like I express that to God. If you think about it, like if you're talking to a guy who you really like, it's a lot easier at first to like text him, or you know, write out like mini letters in like Facebook Messenger, and that's almost like more comfortable at first than being in person if you're like really nervous around this person. And so I think, you know, there's tons of metaphors in the Bible comparing marriage to our relationships with God, and I think that's intentional, and so it makes sense to compare it to like a close relationship in our life. And so I find that if you start out by writing letters to God, then over time you'll become more comfortable just like talking out loud to Him. That's what I do so much. I go out in nature and talk out loud to Him, and a lot of times too I'll like go out in nature with my journal and I'll like journal about things, or like write a prayer out in nature. But like I was talking about, where like you want to get away from technology, it's the same thing. Like, you know, take your paper journal, go outside. I think all those things are extremely beneficial to your self-development, emotional health, spiritual life, all of that. Also, I just write about how I feel, and this is just kind of like, you know, writing in a diary type thing. I know I've talked about this in like every video in the past year, and I know it might be starting to get really annoying if you don't have a mental illness and just like can't relate, but lately I've been journaling so much about my bipolar and how I'm processing, you know, giving up the manic stuff, which is kind of addicting because it's a really enjoyable, awesome, like why I quit treatment or like go off my meds randomly, just kind of processing. Whenever I have an epiphany about why I'm doing something, I just write it all down, and I write about like what I've done, how that affects the present, what I want for the future. And I think just like writing it all down, it helps you understand it more. Just like if you're talking to a friend, like as you're talking to them, you sometimes have more epiphanies about how you actually think and feel about things. So it's the same thing with a journal, and I think, you know, you want to be your best friend. And I just think it's really important to process things with yourself and with God before other people. And maybe that's just like a personal thing with me, because I tend to be like more private about my emotions because they're like so extreme, intense. So first I'll like write about it in my journal, pray about it, then I'll share that with other people. So I want to talk more about like the difference between my note section and this, because if you're super into journaling and like expressing yourself creatively, you might also do the thing on your phone where you write out letters and notes and stuff. I tend to use the note section on my phone if I have a video idea suddenly for my YouTube, or if I suddenly have like dialogue or inspiration, or like an attribute for a character that I want to incorporate into my novel. And my note section on my phone, it connects through iCloud or something to the note section on my computer. And so usually, you know, I'll open a Word document for like a full video script, or like I have a Word document several for my novel, and so it's easily like transferable, like copy and paste. Also, it's just a lot faster to type stuff up on my phone. So if I have like, if I'm hypomanic and I suddenly have a poem, I'll just like type it out really fast. A good metaphor I think to help you understand is like sometimes I'll take like iPhone pictures if I just want to like capture something real quick, but then if I'm like out in nature, like exploring with my friends, or just doing kind of an in-depth like photo shoot type thing, I'll use like my nice camera. And so with writing, it's the same thing, where if I have like a really like emotionally in-depth thing I want to explore, I'll use my journal. But if I just have like a short idea or a short epiphany, a quote someone said that I like, I'll type it out in my phone. Something else that's really great about journaling is that if you're in school, you know, sitting in class and you suddenly want to like write out a prayer to God, or like you just like want to like journal about something that you're really sad about, you can like take out your journal, start writing in it. It looks like you're taking class notes and paying attention. You can just take out your journal and start madly writing in it. And so if you just want to like be in your own world for like a few minutes or like an hour, you can just like write in your journal whatever you want and your teacher won't care. It's kind of the same as just like being on your phone, except like it's an acceptable thing to do in class. Also, if something in class just really like speaks to like a life philosophy I have, and I'm like so excited and I want to further develop like my opinion on some issue, if it just like really relates to something I've been like analyzing so much lately, some like theology or like philosophy, political opinion I have, I'll write it in my journal right after class or in class. So that is everything I wanted to share with you guys about journaling. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Make sure to thumbs up and leave a comment below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. I love you guys so much. Bye. Oh, okay, real quick, I wanted to show you my outfit because, oh, also it's like really uncomfortable filming position. So I have like all these, yeah, all these things stacked up, and then I was like squatting on this because I couldn't get the height right for like these stools and stuff. But I'm on the grad campus of Pepperdine. I'm kind of like visiting my friends here. So yeah, the ocean is so beautiful. I don't know if you guys can see, but I have my dress, and then I have like my sneakers, like my workout shoes on. Cause I kind of like, my friend's apartment who I was like hanging out with is like down there. And I wanted to come up here to film, and I wanted comfy shoes. I think this outfit just like really like well represents my personality though, because I love like adventuring and stuff, but I'm also very girly. So bye.